These fools, they'll never learn.
All right, we are recording. So yeah, I'm just going to jump into it. This is basically the start of the video, so I'll say, all right, Nathan. So, firstly, I have to ask, give us a summary of what's going on with you at the moment, because obviously you got a major thing around the corner.
Yeah. So at the moment, I am in there's I guess the second stage of production for my new feature film called The Lock-In. So we finished shooting in Atlanta
Nice.
last month, and now we're preparing to finish off the film shooting in sunny Rotherham in England.
Rotherham.
Yeah. So we've got that coming up. So right now it's just really hectic, trying to get together, everything from producing the film and trying to get everybody's schedules all together and things. So it's a busy time.
Nice. So I have to ask, the most of, or you may correct me here, I'm assuming is most of the film set in a kind of single location?
Well, actually, no. Like the is kind of like, I guess there is a big chunk of the film that is set in one location, but because of how the film is put together through like a bunch of flashbacks, and then through it kind of like the story moving on from another location, it's actually got quite a few different locations in the film and things. But in terms of the premise of it being in an old English pub, that is kind of like the theme of the film, and that's where a lot of it takes place. But there's loads of action that happens not inside the pub.
Oh, okay, nice. So give us a general synopsis, and then we'll get into the kind of meat and potatoes of it.
Great. Okay. So The Lock-In, it's about this geeky guy who walks into this pub, and he meets this like mysterious kind of like bartender, and then he gets caught up in a crossfire between the bartender having a fight with a bunch of assassins, where basically the bartender has to fight a different assassin on the hour every hour. Now, the problem is this geeky guy, he's arranged for a date to meet him at the pub. So when she comes along, things just all go awry, and things really get heated up after that point, I think, really.
Yeah, that's I love the idea of this. I think it's such an interest. I mean, I'll be honest, as far as I know, I don't think this has been done before. I guess the last film I remembered with a lock-in, a good old fashioned pub lock-in, was probably Shaun of the Dead. But to convert that to kind of an action film, I think that's a very interesting premise, and I really like the idea of you've shown me some of the footage, and some of the footage is out there, on your kind of your show reel for the film, and I like that some of the action, or maybe a large section of the action or portion of the action, is in the actual pub itself. I assume that's where Rotherham comes in.
Yeah, most definitely, because that's the place where I live at the moment.
Okay.
So in between like Sheffield and Rotherham is where I live.
Oh.
So I was like, okay, right, I want to make a feature film. So what resources
Oh,
do I have?
Sorry, my cat is being so frustrating. I'm gonna have to edit this bit out.
So I can't even remember where I was now. So yeah, a lot of the action does basically take place in a pub in Rotherham, because I wanted to I can say shoot my first feature film, but I needed to utilize the resources that were available to me. Obviously, as a lot of people know, feature films cost loads of cash, for locations, let alone anything else and things. So I'm quite fortunate enough to know some great people locally in my area that were like, yo, we got some great spaces that you can utilize, really. So so a lot of the action happens in Rotherham, and also it'll be great to shine a different light on Rotherham, and actually have a film made in a different area to England than what a lot of films are usually made. There's not many films that are shot in Rotherham, so hopefully it'll help raise the profile of the place as well.
That's awesome. Do you have a transatlantic cast? Do you have like Americans and Brits in there?
Yeah. So we have Keith Vitale, who is in the film. He was so gracious enough to
Legend.
bless us with his with his skills on screen. And yeah, he's absolutely incredible. Absolute like pleasure to work with. Super professional. Yeah, I can't sing his praises enough. And we were also fortunate enough to work with Jeff Pruitt, who
Yeah.
was the stunt coordinator for Buffy the Vampire Slayer and for Power Rangers. So
Wow.
again, he really understands like a lot of Hong Kong style action and how that works as well and things. So it was brilliant to have Jeff on board to coordinate the stunts for when we're in the States and things.
That's incredible. I mean, Keith Vitale is like quite the get. I was funny enough, I was just watching No Retreat, No Surrender 3 with him in, which is a severely underrated film. I'm gonna say that that film is phenomenal. It's crazy that you were able to get him, and great because I don't think he's been on screens for a while, has he? Or maybe I'm not aware of his current career.
So the last thing I know of that he was in Black Creek with the Cynthia Rothrock film. So he's got
Oh,
an appearance in Black Creek, but
okay.
I haven't been aware of any other films that he's done recently. So yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Okay.
I feel very honoured and privileged that for my first film, right out the back, Keith Vitale agreed to it.
That's quite the credit there for your first feature film. So we have to, of course, speak. We're going to bounce around probably a little bit. We have to speak about the action. So I've seen little snippets. Other people have seen little snippets out there, and it looks like quite the variety of action sequences from what I've seen. You've got old school shapes, you've got kind of new school kickboxing style, you've got big stunts, and you've even got your own kind of b-boy sword swinging, windmilling action going on. And was that your aim from the get-go to kind of capture all aspects of action, or did that kind of evolve as you were writing the film?
So with with me in terms of the action that I make, I think what's always happened is since I've been on this journey of making action, I've always tried to represent my authentic self, and a lot of these elements, are very dear to my heart and a part
Mhm.
of me. So, for example, a lot of the fight choreography training that I do has kung fu shapes in. It has like modern style action, but it also has I coined the term break fu, where I combine like kung fu and breaking elements. So again, like I really wanted to give audiences kind of like a bit of a variety, but also wanted to give them something new that they may not have seen before, or even if they have seen it, they maybe wouldn't have seen it in this presented in this way before. Um, I think predominantly though, I'm wanting to really touch the hearts of the old school shapes fans,
Ah,
um, because I really feel like that as kind of like I don't know, as an audience, we haven't really been catered to as much as we could have done with a lot of modern day films and things. The way in which the old school shapes are done, they're not how they used to, not how they
couldn't
used
agree
to be.
more. Could
You
not
know,
agree more. Yeah.
yeah. So with this film, I'm wanting to really bring that feel and flavor of those old school shapes back, but also put it in the the modern day context of, I guess, a pub situation. So obviously you'd have people going up, with modern fighting styles. So how would someone with old school shapes deal with somebody with modern fighting styles? So that's kind of like where we've gone with it.
That's kind of unique as well. I mean, you haven't seen something like that since the 70s. And even then it was kind of rare. You had the, whatever Russian boxer that would step up, against someone. And back then it wasn't even done that well. Maybe a few films did it well. But it's interesting to see that kind of merge of fighting styles. And you have given us a few teasers of what styles are going to be involved. I think I've seen so far, and correct me if I'm wrong, Tiger, Snake style, and there's definitely you recently posted that you'll be doing Mantis. Is that right?
Hmm. Yeah. We've got those styles in for sure. And there's a few others. There's a few other few other shapes as well. So yeah, just stay tuned. So yeah, my character, he kind of like specializes in different animal shapes and different animal styles. Because basically what it is like he was obviously an assassin that was trained
Mhm.
up, and each assassin that was trained by this one guy. So basically, they grew up in a group with a bunch of orphans, and they were known as the orphanage gang. I don't know if you know where that's from.
Okay.
But basically, they were a group of assassins that were brought up by this guy who adopted all these kids, who's known as the father, and he basically taught all the different assassins the same basic skills, but then he specialized them in different things. So they were
Okay.
all trained separately in different chambers. So this is kind of like where my skill set comes in, is with a lot of the traditional kung fu shapes.
That's also. I guess we should clarify that you wrote this film, you are directing the film, you are producing the film, and of course, you star in the film.
Yeah.
A lot for your first feature film. That's a lot to take on. How do you feel about that so far? Being, however far you are into production right now.
Yeah. So obviously, like, being able to, I guess, take control of your own destiny like that
Mm,
is really great, because obviously I've worked on other people's films and other people's productions and things, and obviously you have to work towards their vision. And
yeah,
there's sometimes where it's kind of like, oh, I'd love to put in this technique here, or this sequence, or this stunt here, but they're like, nah. And it's just like, okay, fair enough. You have to respect the director's kind of like wishes and things. But
yeah,
also, in terms of editing, you can give them the greatest choreography, and then how they edit it can, the fight scenes can live or die by how somebody edits it. And you know what I
yes.
mean? Yeah.
Very
So
much so, yeah.
yeah.
Especially nowadays, you see that a lot, right? We're getting all those crazy quick edits that no one really likes, but somehow they just keep churning them out.
Right, exactly. And so with this film, obviously, I'll be doing a big bunch of the editing for the fight scenes, especially. So I'll be able to make sure that my vision in my head is realized on the screen as well. So I think, with being able to do this, it really does mean that I'll be able to express myself in the best way I possibly can, with the resources I can at this moment in time. Um, I would say it hasn't come without its challenges, obviously,
Hmm.
because I would have loved to have an entire production team to be on board, to take some of the weight off my shoulders
Yeah,
with like producing the film and things. But at this point, that just wasn't possible. So I was like, right, well, I'm not going to wait for that to happen. I'm very much going to be a master of my own destiny, and still make things happen. I'm one of those people that is like, I'll always find a way. So
yeah,
if something doesn't happen, if something isn't happening, I'm not just going, like, okay, well, I'll wait for somebody to hand me an opportunity. I was like, no, I'll create my own opportunities. And this is what this film is. It's being having the ability to not only create my opportunities for myself, but also for a lot of people that I know within the industry, that I know
mhm,
that's skilled, and that may either have not had the opportunity to express themselves in the way they wanted to, or they may even be overlooked. And
yeah.
so this also gives them the opportunity to have some real great moments to shine as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think the fact that the fact that you're able to kind of take what you want to do and put it there on screen, and really, like you said, be in control of pretty much every aspect of it, that's for the audience. I think that's really special in a way, because when we sit down and watch this, we know we're getting the genuine article, right? We're getting something that came from the filmmaker's mind, and we know that there aren't a bunch of, I don't know, idiotic, higher ups stepping in and saying this should change, this should change, this should change. And I think there's a real quality to that when it comes to films, knowing that at the end of the day, we're like, this is the real deal. This is what he wanted to show us, and we got it. And I think, yeah, I love that. I mean, obviously, we've seen it over the years with certain, labors of love. But I just think it's very special, especially in the action genre, because you hear so many of these fight choreographers, directors, so on and so forth say, "Oh, we had these ideas, but someone stepped in and said, no, we can't do that. We don't have enough money." Or no, we can't do that. For we're stuck for time, or whatever it may be. So it's nice that you can kind of plan it out and make it what you want it to be. With that said, do you feel so far? I mean, I don't want, obviously, we're not going to get into money or anything, but do you feel limited at all in your budget? Or do you feel like you can really do what you want to do with the money that you have?
Yeah, I think there are certain limitations. So obviously, um, budget is limiting in certain contexts in terms of
Hmm.
I have a crew, but I only have them for a certain amount of days. And
Yeah.
so there are some times where I would want, say, like a fight scene to last, say, like 3 to 5 minutes. And I may have to be like, okay, well, this one is going to have to be a bit shorter. But
Okay.
it's all good. But it just means that I'll have to streamline those fight scenes to make sure that I've got the best moments in there. So there's no like fillers or
Right.
bits and waffle. It's like, no, we're going to get straight to the meat on these.
Right.
So that is, where we're at with this bit. In terms of being able to, I guess, be able to make those decisions in terms of, okay, well, this is what I want to put into this scene. This is what I want to show the audience.
Hmm.
I can definitely do that. And also with this one, because like I said, it's I really do want old school kung fu audiences to really enjoy it as well. And that's why on the Blu-ray, I'm going to be also releasing a Hong Kong cut in terms of having old school sound effects, because again, like a lot of the old school kung fu audiences, a lot of them don't like the sound effects that I
Yeah.
use in a lot of modern day action. So with this film, you'll have one track that would be modern day action, so you can attract younger audiences and
Yeah.
stuff. But also those that are purists and love the old school sound effects and shapes, there's going to be a separate soundtrack that has old school sound effects as well. So just to help giving that little bit of nostalgia as well.
And that's incredible. That just speaks to your character, really, being an old school head, at heart, and just being someone who respects the genre. And not only that, but obviously you respect the fan base as well, which is the all the people that have grown up with the classic kung fu. So that's really special. Again, I think this is going to be definitely a special project. And I think, what do you plan to do with the finished product? Are you looking for film markets? Are you going around the festival route? Is it going to be on YouTube, a small independent release on YouTube? Do you know what you want to do with it?
Yeah, so I'm wanting to go for a global release with it.
Hmm.
So for example, I earlier on this year when I was over in the States, I attended the American film market. Again, just to gauge interest from distributors and things like that. And I've also been
Hmm.
talking to sales agents here in the UK and things. And so at the moment, that's what we're planning for. We're planning to have kind of like we'll see how many. I'd love to have a global release, but we'll see how
Yeah.
many countries we can get distribution for, and then potentially a limited theatrical release as well, depending on how well it gets picked up. But yeah, in terms of the scheduling, if everything works out with the film scheduling and stuff, I hopefully we can present it at Cannes
Wow.
with a little bit of luck. If that can't happen, that's cool, and we'll just go
Right.
we'll just go straight for the international release. But yeah, the aim is to kind of like release it at Cannes, get a bit of hype around it, and then boom, just international release. We're not really doing a bigger film festival run with it. I just want to get this one straight to the people. I feel like with what I did with my short films on the film festival circuit, I feel like I've achieved everything I wanted to achieve with that. So
Yeah.
the next stage is, okay, let me just go straight to the public.
Wow. That's pretty awesome, and just the idea of getting it to Cannes and getting more eyes on it. I mean, that's exciting in itself, because not just for you, but I mean, even having eyes like that on a kind of classic kung fu hybrid with modern fighting styles, just martial arts genre in general, just having people like that have their eyes on it is, yeah, pretty awesome. I look forward to. Of course, I look forward. Oh, another question actually. While I'm on this train of thought, so you have released footage from this film, from the in your highlight reel, show reel,
Yeah.
whatever we want to call it. Are those scenes going to be reshot, or is that the final product?
Ah, right. So what happened was with what was in the sizzle reel and stuff,
Sizzle reel,
that
yes.
that was they were like proof of concepts because
Right.
basically I got with my team and I was like, okay, so we've got 3 days. Let's see what we can shoot in 3 days. So let's just
Mhm.
try little moments and see what works and what doesn't. And some stuff worked really, really well, and some stuff will make it into the final
Got you.
product. But some stuff we're going to go back and we're going to reshoot just because there's certain
Right.
things I want to tighten up. But again, that's the great thing about being in charge of my own project. I can be like, well, actually, that's good enough to stay, but that right there, no, actually, I want to get some different angles on that, or I want the performances to be a bit tight. I want the martial art action to be a bit tighter.
Yeah.
So again, it's like the sizzle reel will definitely give people a flavor, and there may be certain moments that they'll see in the future, but there's quite a few elements that I'm gonna go back and reshoot. But yeah, but in terms of
Great.
gauging the audience's response from the action, so far so good. Everybody really seems to be loving the action. They're all hyped about the release of the film. So yeah, I just gotta keep pushing forwards and keep leveling up.
Yeah, I was interested in that to see how reactions have been so far and how just not just and I'm not talking about just the martial arts cinema community or even Asian cinema community. Are you getting kind of people recognizing it from all kind of walks of or cinema fan, I guess I should call them?
Yeah, I'm getting people like sliding my DMs all the time, being like, "Yo, this is wicked! Oh, I can't wait for it to come out." Oh yeah,
Wow.
just let everyone's just been asking about the film and stuff like that, and they're really enjoying the action because again, I guess the action that they're seeing hasn't really been presented to them within that kind of context before in terms of old school shapes versus modern day action, and even
Yeah.
so many people have like been messaging me like just like, "Oh my gosh." That head spin with the katana blades, that was like next level. I've never seen nothing like that before and things. So again, like it's kind of doing what it does. And even the stunts, people have been saying, oh my gosh, there's a certain little wire work elements I put in.
Yeah.
And people are just like, oh my gosh, my heart was in my mouth when I watched that fall or that descent. And I was like, well, I'm glad because that was kind of like the hope. So yeah, so I'm definitely getting emotional responses from people in terms of how they're connecting it, which is great. I want people to definitely feel emotionally charged in one way or another, like we did when we watched kung fu films and stuff.
Yeah.
We definitely want people to feel that way. It's from Jackie's stunts that were breathtaking, right through to that how you'd feel emotionally connected to the characters and the fight choreography that they do as well.
Of course, yeah. There was nothing better back then, and I imagine someone being introduced to that aspect or that element these days will get the same feeling. Or I hope there's people out there that I guess everyone knows Jackie Chan these days, but there's still people out there. I'll take a stunt from a Hong Kong, let's say a rarer Hong Kong film. And I'll take that stunt and I'll turn it into a GIF or I'll turn it into a short clip and I'll put it on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it these days, and people get hyped about it. People are like, "What's this from? Like, where is this all of a sudden coming?" It's just like, yeah, and it's the grainiest, worst footage you've ever seen, but people are hyped for it because they haven't seen stuff like that. So
Mhm.
I think it's exciting that there's still a younger audience out there that still just haven't seen this stuff, and maybe when they do see it, they will get into it. And I love the fact that there's a few elements I think of what I've seen in your film that are very reminiscent of classic Hong Kong action. Are you using the classic power powder?
Yeah. Of course, we got to use that power powder
Yeah.
because like everybody from the old school kung fu classics, they know when somebody has that
Yeah.
some serious damage and actual real contact is being made. So again, yeah, we utilize the power powder to literally do that showcase power.
Love it, love it. Yeah, there's something very, very. I don't know. There's something very warm and cozy about Power Powder to me. I just love it when it's in a film. It's fantastic. And another aspect I saw was you feature a lady assassin with a particularly troublesome ponytail or braid, I should say. Um, if anyone doesn't know what I'm talking about, it's a lengthy braid that is used in in the fight choreography. Did you get inspired by any chance by The Master, the Three Evil Masters film, the Shaw Brothers film, or was there another particular film with a braid in? I know there's been a few.
Yeah. So actually, none of them inspired me. Do you know
Oh.
what it was? Right. So actually, so I've done like rope dart for quite a few years
Yeah.
as a Chinese weapon, and my partner, she does a little bit of rope dart, and she's just mad creative. Like this one day, she was like, "You know what? I'm gonna make myself a really long braid and use it as a rope
Wow.
dart." And she did that. Like there's actually footage on my Instagram about 2 or 3 years ago of her actually doing that. And
Wow.
I was just like, so when I started filmmaking, I was like, I need to put that in a film. But she's done other stuff, like she's made a rope dart using a disco ball before. So when it reflects off the wall, like it just looks absolutely incredible when it's spinning around. So she's super creative. So I was
Yeah.
like, when I saw I call it a Rapunzel rope dart because it's like
Yes,
her
of
hair looks
course.
like Rapunzel, right? So yeah, I was like, yeah, I had to put it in. But yeah, obviously, I've seen films, such as The Master,
Yeah.
that use it, and they normally have like a little cheeky blade in their braid,
Yes.
don't they?
Yes, I was thinking about that. I was like, is there gonna be a blade in this one?
Yeah.
I was interested.
You'll have to wait. You'll have to wait and see for that for sure. For sure. But yeah, yeah. It was really fun. Coming up with that choreography for it, and I'm really excited for fans to see that, because again, I think especially modern day fans won't have seen that as a weapon too often. So again, like I say, we're really trying to come up with fresh and exciting concepts for fans, both of action and just in general, that may not have seen certain things put together really.
Yeah, yeah, and to be honest, I haven't seen anything like that because the braid is so long that it is used as a rope dart, and I've never seen that. The ones in kung fu films, like the Master, for example. It's just he kind of swings it around his head rather than anything else.
Yeah.
I've never seen one that long, so it's very impressive. And who is that actress that is doing that?
That's my partner. That's my
Oh my god, she's in the film.
Yeah.
Oh wow! I did not know that. I did not
Yeah.
know that was her. Oh, fantastic! All right, so she gets a little role in there.
Yeah,
Great.
100%. Because she's always joked with me, like over like the last year or so that I've been making films. She's like, well, so when am I going to be in one of your films then?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, we'll see. And then I was just like, right, I want you in this film. And she's like, what? I was like, yeah. She's like, all right then, okay. So yeah, she's in it now. But yeah, she has some great skills in it. So yeah, she'll be a badass. And this is it, like how I designed each character in this film. I wanted it to, I guess, feel like a bit like a video game. When everybody has their own favorite characters that they choose, that they relate to, or like tournament films,
Yep.
and you always see, everybody has a certain character that they relate to more so.
Right.
And I really wanted that to be the case with this film, where there's so many different characters. So audience members can be like, oh, I like the guy that does the shapes, or I like the lady that does the rope
Of
dart,
course.
or I
Yeah.
like the guy that does the fencing, like whatever. Like I really wanted them to have something that people could really,
Yeah.
one, relate to, but two, just have memorable fight scenes, like memorable moments. So each fight scene will be memorable. And obviously with my character, as he's going against each fighter, the whole reason he uses different styles to deal with each fighter is because it's problem solving, isn't it? So he's
Yeah.
got to utilize one style to deal with whatever problem that opponent currently is that he's facing is giving him.
Yeah, I kind of love those films where it's essentially a string of boss fights, and and it feels like a video game, right? It does. It feels like a video game where the hero comes along one boss and then has to fight the next, and each boss has their different specialty. I love that. I mean, it's a very simple premise in a way, but it's a tried and true premise. It's been done, and it's been done magically in the past, and it's going to be one of those things that continues in cinema for years and decades to come. I love that idea. So my question, actually, off the back of that, was how difficult was it to have all these boss fights and have all these fight scenes throughout your film, and then have to plan for a finale, a final fight? I'm assuming there is a big action sequence at the end. How difficult was it to go, well, I've done all these fights, now I have to do something special at the end?
Yeah, completely. Because this is it. It's like you have to kind of like raise the stakes and
Hmm.
raise the game. And obviously, throughout the film, like you see the relationship between the geeky character and the mysterious bartender assassin character.
Yeah,
You really see their relationship kind of like develop and grow. And the thing is, it's kind of like, okay, while that is going on, because the thing is, you can have great fights, but you need the story to basically
of course.
invest people in. So then by the time we get to the finale, like everybody's hopefully going to be like, have, be fully emotionally invested in
Right.
both these characters. But also, that was part of the reason. I mean, I don't want to say too much, but that was part of the
Yeah.
reason about taking it out of the pub for the
Yes.
for the finale. So we really wanted to push the story on, because obviously it's all well and good having a lot of stuff happening in just one location, but for some people, because the location doesn't change much, they could have trouble feeling like the story's pushed on.
Yeah.
But I guess this was one of the other reasons why we have flashbacks in the film as well, just so we can put it in different locations as well to help that move along. But with the finale, we wanted to really raise the scale of
Okay.
everything, and yeah, just brings something truly great. So yeah, I'm really hyped about the finale. So yeah. So that's basically how we did. We literally just had to be like, okay, let's really level things up.
Yeah, yeah. I will say I did see a particular sizable stunt in the sizzle reel. I won't go into it now, but there is a seemingly large and decent looking and terrifying looking stunt in the sizzle reel. And I'm not gonna make you reveal exactly where that comes in the film, but I will say it looks like something special. And I think was the stunt component difficult for you at all, or do you feel like you've kind of worked out the kinks and know how to land all these particular stunts?
Yeah, so I think what's what's been really fortunate for me is, like, obviously I was trained up by Jackie Chan's stunt team in Beijing,
Hmm.
and so we got so much knowledge on that trip. So I'm like, okay, I can apply all that knowledge
Yeah.
to the film. I mean, also fortunate for me, when we shot in Atlanta, there was a lot of people from the States that were my classmates that trained in
Ah,
Beijing.
okay.
So they're also in the film as well. And so you've got, this is kind of be like the first feature that a big chunk of people from the Jackie Chan's stunt camp are all going to be in together. And
Wow.
so yeah, so it's kind of like a big achievement within that context as well. And so all the stunt knowledge that we had accumulated together really made for something special in Atlanta. And then especially with having Jeff Pruitt at the helm
Hmm.
for stunt coordination, like when it came to the Atlanta shoot, I kind of like let Jeff take the helm in terms of like a lot of the biggest stunts that we were doing out there,
Okay. Yeah.
because I'm like, his knowledge trumps all of our knowledge put together.
Right.
So I was just like, I was even asking him advice about, okay, what shots would you get to best capture this action, Jeff? And he's like, oh well, if it was me, I'd probably put it down here and stuff. And he was like really, really kind of like humble and polite about everything and stuff. But I was just like, yo, this is an opportunity for me to learn from the master.
Of
So
course. Yeah.
again, I really wanted to kind of like soak up that knowledge and really listen to him. So again, I got a lot of knowledge from him. Um, I've been really fortunate that the leader of Jackie Chan's stunt team, Hajun, he has basically just been on the other end of the phone if I ever need any kind of like
Wow.
advice on certain stunts or how to figure certain stuff out. He's been there helping me out, and giving me good mentorship and advice. So again, and it also, like, the same with Andy Cheng.
Yeah.
He's been the same. So it's been, so I feel like I have more than enough knowledge to do the stunts that I want to do in this film in particular. But if there's something where I'm like, actually, let me just see if I can raise the stakes or up the ante a little bit,
Yeah.
and I'm not 100% sure about a certain element, I'll just ask them, and then they'll put me on the right track. But yeah, it's I think, but also with my stunt guys in the UK, like I've got one guy in terms of the the kind of like any of the wire gags and stuff that happens. Not saying there's a ton of wire work in this
Right,
film,
right.
but like in certain moments when we were testing stuff out in the sizzle reel, like this dude, he's like I think was it a level 3 at rope access to rope, which is I think it's the highest level you can get.
Okay.
And he's part of my team. So he was literally like dropping people out the window and stopping them for like 3 inches above the ground, like
Crazy.
every time, like bang,
Yeah.
bang, bang. So again, with people like that on your team, you really do have the confidence to kind of like aim big for your stunts and also make sure that everything's done in the safest way possible.
Yeah, yeah, I can imagine in smaller productions, you really have to make use of who you have, and it definitely, it benefits you to have these fantastic people. You see so many people in I'm not naming any names, but I've certainly seen smaller productions with stunts that, let's just say, they don't look as good as probably they could be, whether they were rushed or just didn't have the minds behind the stunts. And it's you can see people try and they go for it, but sometimes they just don't look all that good, and it just pays to have very, very good people. And I think off talking about stunts and actually kind of, I guess, action, and more so I'm going to lean more towards violence. So, if you were going to say that your film was aiming for a particular certificate, is it a bloody film? Is it a violent film up to where it needs an 18 or R rating, or did you tone the violence, and was that because of budget limitations?
So with certain elements, I mean, I'm going to have to see what the certification is going to come out at, but
Yeah.
um, like there's definitely blood in this film. There's definitely like wounds and stuff like that, and obviously
Okay.
we've got some pretty violent action with certain elements of it. So yeah, we'll see what the certification is. Like I didn't aim for go in with this film with the intention, okay, this is going to be super gritty and super violent. That wasn't my mindset for this. I mean, my
Yeah.
mindset for this film was, well, okay, well, let me show the beautiful artistry of kung fu shapes, but within a modern day context, and give like some innovation. So I think that's the energy I went in with this one. There's other
Best energy
projects.
to have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's other projects that I have which will be super gritty and super violent. That will be at the forefront of my mind in terms of what I'm doing. But I guess that's the great thing about having this as a career. It's kind of like I can express myself artistically on different projects. I don't have to try and cram everything in. I know
Yeah.
there's different elements in this, and a lot of people would be like, well, that's kind of like a lot, but it depends on like if you view that as a lot in terms of, oh, okay, like for me, these aren't new elements to me. This is stuff I've been doing. It's like breathing to me.
Yeah.
So for me, these are quite. It's quite simple for me to put these things together. Whereas in that other elements, there may be like certain stuff that I may not have as much kind of like hands-on experience in.
Yeah.
So it would be more effort for me to pull that in. But with this, I've literally stuck to everything that's in my wheelhouse in terms of what it is I want to express. But yeah, but there's a more grittier and violent side. I've been there for some other films, but even in this film, there's definitely some gritty moments that so people that are bloodthirsty that they sink their teeth into it as well.
I think you have the right attitude. At the end of the day, I think going into a project and not aiming for a particular level of violence is the best way to go about it, because you're making art. It's not, for example, like a horror film where
Mm.
some horror director will be like, well, I'm going to make the goriest film ever made. I'm going to make the most shocking film ever made. It doesn't really happen with action. So I think most people go into action with just a passion for the action itself, and the violence, the level of bloodiness and goriness is kind of just an afterthought, not an afterthought, but a secondary thought. And I think that definitely works, because it should be about the action, and it should be about presenting the art and the art of action, the visual poetry, body poetry, if you will, and less about the violence. Now, obviously, there are some directors out there that know they want a level of violence. You can't argue that The Night Comes for Us and everything that Timo makes is super violent. Even Gareth Evans, to a degree, The Raid is very violent, and
Yeah.
I'm sure his upcoming film Havoc seems like it's got a level of violence in it, which is great. But I know they went out to make a gritty, adult, visceral film. But I think it's fine to just go, right, I'm going to make some art. I'm going to make it look great. And if there's moments that require violence, it's going to happen. And yeah, that's the best way to do it. That's the best way to approach art in general, I think. Just you're not doing it to offend. You're not doing it to please. You're just doing it to make your passion on the screen. And yeah, that's awesome. I'm really looking forward to this. I truly am looking forward to this project so much. And I think people are going to set their eyes on it and really, really enjoy it. And that's an aspect that I'm excited for. People seeing it and going, wow, this is great stuff. And do you already have a next project in mind? Are you that kind of person that plans ahead?
Yeah. So like I've got so I'm going to turn Flaming Assassin into a feature film, but I don't know if I want that to be my third or fourth film I'm going to make.
Okay.
So there's going to be another film in between that that I've actually started playing with at the moment. In terms of concepts and ideas, but I haven't fully like, to be honest, I started developing that February, March time this year, this other feature. So this is kind of like, so because when I first made Flaming Assassin, I was like, yeah, okay, that was going to be my first feature. And I was like, well, hold up, it's done so well here. I want to basically not make that my first feature, because obviously I need to, get a lot more experience with making feature films in terms of like, learning what works, what doesn't, and things like that. So I was like, okay, let me bump that, along. And then this other film came out, which again is going to have a similar vibe to the Lock-In in terms of it's going to have some cool kung fu shapes and stuff as well.
Nice.
And some really quirky characters. I can't say too much about that one, but yeah. So I started making characters for that earlier on this year, and then when it came to me deciding, do you know what, it's time for me to make a feature film, I was like, right, let me get this script made, and I banged the script out in about a month for the Lock-In, and then from there, I just banged it out within a month. The next month we were shooting it in Atlanta and things. No, banged out in a month. A couple of weeks later, we were shooting the sizzle reel, and then within that month, we were shooting it in Atlanta. So it's kind of like the process by which it's gone has moved really quickly. And because I think that's because my energy is I'm a doer, and I don't like to kind of like sit on things for too long. So I'm just like, okay, let me. If I want to, for example, if I want to make Flaming Assassin a big budget film, I need to get experience in order to do that. So let me do what I can. Let me again take fate into my own hands rather than waiting for people to give me opportunities and stuff. I'm like, okay, well, actually, let me make my own film, and then I can, get the experience and knowledge that I need and level up each time until I feel like, right, I'm at the level where, you know what, I'm going to make a wicked film out of Flaming Assassin.
That's awesome. I mean, that's similar to, well, it's not quite similar, but Jackie Chan in a way did the same, where he said he would go to Hollywood and he would make, these movies to basically get a payday, and so he could go and make something fantastic in Hong Kong. And I think it's the same thing. You go on, you make these maybe smaller projects, or just to see what the audience is like, and then of course to see if you can one up yourself and you get the experience. And I think that's very, very important, because when you make films, and don't take my word for it because I'm not a filmmaker, but from an audience member's perspective, I think you want a filmmaker to evolve, right? You don't want them to make the same thing over and over again. You want, even as far as, you want the next, I don't know, the next Mission Impossible film to be bigger and better and more interesting than the one before. And you do that with a lot of films. I mean, all you have to do is take someone like Christopher Nolan. Christopher Nolan's made all these incredible movies, and then everyone's now talking about his next film. It's got an amazing cast. How big is it going to be? It's secret. What's it going to be? So I think there needs to be a evolution of a filmmaker there, even on the smaller scale. I mean, just one-upping yourself in general, I think, is an important skill to have in life. Try harder, try and get to, like you said, level up. So I think that's, it's great that you have that mindset going into the future of your filmmaking career. Do you have a wrap date in mind at all?
Yeah,
For the
so the
current
wrap
project?
date for shooting should be the 24th of January, all things going to plan.
Oh
So
wow, okay, that's right
yeah,
around the corner.
yeah, this is what I mean. So I'm really in the thick of it at the moment.
Yeah.
So yeah, so we're looking for a wrap date on the 24th of January, and then from there it's straight into getting a new trailer made for the actual film of all the stuff that's going to be in the film. Get a new trailer made. Hopefully, we'll have that ready in time for Berlin Film Festival to kind of like get a bit of hype and buzz around it
Yeah,
with distributors, and then from there, hopefully the full film will be completed in time for release at Cannes, and
nice.
then we release. So, like I say, that's if all goes well with the timelines. That's the timeline that we're looking for. If it doesn't, it doesn't matter that, for example, so we miss Berlin or we miss Cannes. It's not the end of the world because, like I
Yeah,
say, for me, the biggest thing is getting this film out to the public. So that's
absolutely.
kind of like where we're at. And obviously, like I say, with this film, I mean, obviously everybody judges films to a certain standard, but for me, it's kind of like, this is my final form in terms of the film. Like you said, we're talking about with evolution and things.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like, people will see when they see my body of work. Hopefully, like you say, they'll see, the levels
Yeah,
that gets improved upon. So I would hope that I would be able to make enough of an impact for people to be like, oh wow, this has got some great action in. Yo, dude's one to watch. And then the
exactly.
next one, they'll still be like, yo, all right, then I didn't think he was going to level up like that. And then yeah, we just keep it going because like I say, I mean, that's what I've been doing with my short films,
Yeah,
obviously. So it's kind of like for me, the next stage was okay. It's got to be features now,
yeah.
and so that was it. As soon as I made that decision that day, I just started writing the script and then never looked back.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think projects being attention getters is an important key, right? You want the right people to. I mean, you want the fans to see it, but you want the right people to see it as well and go, "This dude's got talent. Like, what else can he do?" And I think that's important. So let's talk about one of the biggest things about the film, and that is how can the people help you? How can they help you make this film, make it as good as it can possibly be?
Okay, right. Well, obviously we have a crowdfunder that's going on at the moment, an Indiegogo campaign, and that's basically because at the moment, obviously, I've just been self-funding this film myself, and so what I'm wanting is people to help donate to help complete the film, just so it can look as professional as it can on
Yeah.
screen. And by that, so I mean, so for example, so we can make sure we've got the best color grading so it does look really cinematic.
Hmm.
Making sure it's got incredible sound design, both in terms of Foley sound effects, but also in terms of the cinematic score and
Yeah.
things. Just basically like even like I didn't even realize, but even like it costs like a few grand just to have the privilege to be able to distribute a film in the States. You have to, pay for something called errors and omissions, and I was just like, I was not aware of this. And I was like, okay, well, that wiped out a big chunk of my original budget.
Wow.
So yeah, so it's even like elements like this. So again, people's donations would be going towards like these kinds of things to again make sure that we have the best opportunity possible to make the best work. That basically all the funds is going to what goes on screen in order to making sure that we have the best opportunities in terms of distribution, but the best opportunity in terms of how professional the film can look. So rather than it looking like something that's shot on somebody's iPhone, and don't get me wrong, there are some cool stuff that gets shot on iPhone, but
Yeah.
in terms of having a real incredible cinematic quality and feel to it. I'd really love for people to support, so that could happen too.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fantastic. I think an important component to these is fan assistance. I think at one point, when Indiegogo landed, it was people kind of being skeptical and being like, "Oh, I'm not so sure about this." And now it's all about fans putting money into labors of love and just projects that they want to see made. So, if you're out there and you want to give to the campaign. I'm going to put all the links and everything down below in the description. And if I can speak just briefly from my own heart, please, let's give money to these people. Nathan is a committed filmmaker, but he's also a huge fan of the genre, and that's what we need right now. We need more fans of the genre making films like this. So, you know, in my mind, this is a given. I think it's going to be spectacular, and I really think that Nathan is one to watch, but he's also one to give to because there's such a burning passion inside him for this kung fu martial art genre. So just if I can get off my pedestal now, I'll get off my pedestal, but it's definitely worth it. So check out the links below and go ahead and give a little money his way.
Yeah. Thank you. Also, I just want to say, you know, we've got like great perks for our backers and things like that, from artwork of the films that you can get, right through to pre-orders of Blu-rays and things, right through to like workshops. You know, I can give like screen fighting workshops and things like that. Obviously, I'm a b-boy, so I can give like dance workshops and stuff, fire performances. So there's all these elements, and these are all stuff that I can either do in person or virtually as well. So there's different there's different tiers for different perks. You know, if people want to have like certain credits as well within the film for like special thanks and things like that, then yeah, it's all there. So it's not a case of we would just be taking. We'd also be giving something back with the perk that we'd be giving as well.
Yeah, I was actually very impressed by the number of perks that you have and the levels of perks that you have. Yeah, there's quite a number out there, so please check them out. I think I have to ask you the most important question, and that is your film. A large portion of your film is set in a pub. Is there drunken boxing? That's what everyone wants to know right now. Is there going to be drunken boxing? That's the most important question I can ask.
Oh my gosh. I mean, can you have a film in a pub in it and it have come through and it not?
I don't know. I think it's blasphemous to not do that, but you know.
Yeah. So gosh, I didn't want to say it, but of course there's gonna be drunken boxing in it. Yeah. There will be drunken boxing in it. And yeah, there may be a slightly different take on it as well. As well. Like I said, I'm not going to say too much more about it, but it's set in a pub, man. So yeah, it's kind of got to be there, right?
Of course. Yeah, and I must say, from a fan's perspective, I love kind of modern interpretations of drunken boxing. I think when a filmmaker takes it and makes it something special, I think the last real one that made me open my eyes and go, wow, this is different, was actually Tony Jaa's in Ong Bak 2. His drunken boxing is brutal in that, and very impressive. Okay, I think we can wrap up here. I can let you go. I have to thank you for coming on. I mean, I could chat with you. I mean, the fact that we haven't even chatted about kung fu films in general is nuts. But we can sit down and talk about that another time, because I'm pretty sure you and I can talk nonstop about kung fu films. But thank you for coming on and talking about this project. I'm super excited about it. And I just, I thank you for doing something like this, especially putting your own money into it. I think it's remarkable that people are that committed and, that selfless to be putting their own money into something that's made for martial arts fans. I think that's incredible. So, yeah, thank you so much. And I wish you all the best with this project. I cannot wait to see it. Really, really excited for when it rolls around. And yeah, I wish you all the success that's possible.
Oh, thank you so much. And I just want to say a big love and shout out to everybody that's been a part of this project, from this the smallest way to the biggest way. Even those that have just given like positive words of encouragement, like it really does mean the world to me. And like, the team that I have, in terms of like their time, their energy, their love, and their passion, and like, we all want this to succeed, and so from the bottom of my heart, I just want to say big thank you to them, and a big thank you to everybody out there that is thinking of supporting, but everybody who just loves the genre. because if there wasn't a fan base, these films wouldn't be made, and we know how much a big impact they had on our lives growing up. And so for me to be a part of that now, I feel truly honored and blessed to be in the position I am. But also just a big thank you to everybody that's ever watched a kung fu film, because you've helped spur on my passion.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you everyone for watching this. I really, really appreciate you coming along on the ride. I'm sure I will have Nathan on again in the not too distant future. Once he's wrapped, I know he's busy right now, so once he's wrapped, I'm sure I'll have him on again. If you like what you see, if you enjoyed this, and check out some of my other videos. If you really like what you see, please like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, all that usual YouTube nonsense. Again, all the links are down below to check out Nathan's work, so go ahead and check those out. Thank you, everyone, once again for watching, and I'll catch you next time. All right, let's end recording.